So here's a puzzle for you. How can one single technology be called both a worthless scam and a revolutionary tool for freedom? It's a huge contradiction, right? Well, today we're digging right into that puzzle, and it's all about Bitcoin.
All right, so on one side of the ring, you've got this take. This is from the late Charlie Munger, but honestly, it's a view you'll hear from a lot of financial heavyweights in the West. To them, Bitcoin is just worthless artificial gold. You know, a beanie baby that runs on coal. Basically, they see it as a useless, even harmful invention that accomplishes nothing.
But then, you hear this. The exact same technology that Munger called disgusting, a Nigerian democracy activist calls it a literal lifeline, the tool that let them fight back against the notoriously brutal police unit. So, what gives? How on earth can both of these things be true at the same time? That's the core mystery we're unpacking.
Okay, a tale of two worlds. And the answer to our little puzzle? Well, it has almost nothing to do with the technology itself. It's all about the world you happen to live in. See, there's this massive divide in how people experience money, and once you see it, everything starts to click.
So check this out. It really puts things into perspective. That tiny 13% slice, that's where pretty much all the critics live. They were born into countries with stable money, strong property rights, where you can generally speak your mind. It's a financial bubble, in a way. But what about everybody else? The other 87% of the entire planet? What does money look like for those other 7 billion people?
Let's talk about life in that other 87%. For this huge majority of the world's population, the financial system isn't something that helps you get ahead. Far from it. It's often used as a weapon of control, wielded by the state.
And there's a name for this. The Human Rights Foundation, which works with activists on the ground, calls it financial repression. And this is not some abstract concept. This is real life. It's your government freezing your bank account with one click because you're a journalist. It's watching your life savings literally disappear as your currency collapses. I mean, in Sudan, inflation recently topped 400%. For billions of people, money isn't freedom. It's a leash.
So, what do you do? I mean, really, what do you do when the entire financial system is turned against you? Well, this is where things get really interesting. Because activists on the front lines, they found a way to fight back. A censorship-proof lifeline.
Let me give you a perfect real-world example. The End SARS movement in Nigeria. You had this group, the Feminist Coalition, raising money to support pro-democracy protests. What does the government do? Boom, shuts down their bank accounts. Just like that. Funding, gone. The movement was dead in the water. Or was it? Because they pivoted. They set up a way to accept Bitcoin donations from anywhere in the world. And suddenly, the government couldn't stop the money from flowing. Their financial attack was completely useless, and the movement stayed alive.
And this isn't just about big political movements. It gets incredibly personal. I want you to hear about Roya Mahbub. She's an entrepreneur in Afghanistan, and she started paying her female employees in Bitcoin. Why? Because if they were paid in cash, male relatives could just take it. Bitcoin gave these women total control over their own money. And get this, when the Taliban took over, one of her employees had to flee for her life. Her Bitcoin savings, accessible with just a password, funded her entire escape and her new life in Germany. And today, Roya is still using it to fund secret schools for girls back in Afghanistan.
Okay, so these stories are just incredible. But they also bring up a huge question. It's one thing for a tech-savvy activist to use this stuff, but how do you scale it? How do you make it safe, private, and simple enough for an entire community to use every day?
The answer, it turns out, is to build in layers. Think of it like a stack. At the very bottom, you've got Bitcoin. That's your foundation, your digital gold that nobody can confiscate. On top of that, you build a community layer called Fedimint, which is basically a digital credit union. It's a pool of Bitcoin managed by people you actually know and trust, local guardians. And for everyday stuff, you use what's called eCash. You can think of these as digital poker chips. They're private, super fast, and get this, they even work offline. The whole thing gets wrapped up in one simple app, Fedi. That's like your community's own private WhatsApp and Venmo all rolled into one.
So money that's actually secured by trust, not by a distant bank or government. And here's the best part. This is not just a theory. This isn't some idea on a whiteboard. It's happening right now in the real world with a huge global organization.
Check this out. Fedi has teamed up with Save the Children for a pilot program in the Philippines. Their goal? To completely change how humanitarian aid gets delivered.
Instead of wrestling with slow, complex banking systems, they can now send cash assistance directly to people's phones through the app. This isn't just about sending money. It's about giving communities real ownership and control of their funds. This could be a total game changer for how aid work is done.
So, when you step back and look at the big picture, you see what's really happening. You've got Nigerian activists, Afghan entrepreneurs, global NGOs. They're all part of the same thing. It's a quiet revolution, a peaceful but powerful shift in the very nature of money itself.
And as we move into a digital future, we're really at a fork in the road. There are two competing visions. On one path, you have Bitcoin, freedom money. It's decentralized, nobody's in charge, and anyone can use it. But on the other path, you have central bank digital currencies, or CBDCs, and these are the polar opposite. They are centralized, controlled completely by the state, and built for surveillance. The government could literally program your money to stop you from buying certain things, or even make it expire. The sources we looked at don't mince words. They call this a potential civil liberties nightmare.
So you see, for millions of people, this has absolutely nothing to do with speculation or getting rich quick. This is about opting out. It's an escape hatch. And I love how the source material puts it. Bitcoin is the biggest peaceful protest in history. It's a quiet, uncoordinated action that gives individuals an escape from systems of state theft and control. Which brings us back to that core question, and it's one we all have to think about. Because our money is going digital. There's no stopping that. The only question left is, who's going to be in control? You or the state?